Welcome to the Just Boosted podcast where we read about one book a year. Today I'm joined, as always, by Brandon and Felix. And today we're going to be talking about our top 5 books, even though we don't read much, or at least I don't. And then we're also going to be talking about our favorite PVE game modes that are in a PvP game, kind of like Black Ops Zombies. We're going to be no carbonated water review this week. Sorry. I don't know if we ever disclosed that we were all like roommates living together, but Brandon over here freaking is in a different state and didn't save the fucking carbonated waters I gave him.
Couldn't help myself.
He drank them. Me and Felix saved them. They've been.
It's been like a month and a week. It's been 5-6 weeks.
Hey, we're more committed because we kept them. I'm just joking. It's all good. Just teasing, but So yeah, I guess we can just hop in. Let's just do some fun talk about our favorite PvE game modes and PvP games. We're not gonna do like a list or anything. We're just gonna ramble them off, talk about our favorite ones, what we want to see in the future, stuff like that. We can even talk about some bad ones. Like I just thought of terrible ones. Who wants to get us started?
I can start. I mean, I think the biggie between us three is probably Horde from Gears of War.
That is
I didn't really
starred.
pick a specific game when talking about it, but I don't know. Like, I think the game, like, I guess a caveat too that we forgot to mention is that we're not doing campaigns. You know, like obviously Gears of War is a campaign, and I think that's better than Horde, but we're not doing campaigns for this. We're just doing like separate modes, maybe that are gimmicky. So like Horde from Gears of War. I mean, I think the gameplay just like the like hunker down and fight waves of enemies just works so well with the gameplay of Gears of War. And it feels so intense when you're getting overrun and you're like panicking, like, you know, chainsawing everything you see and all this crazy stuff. Especially when they added cool bosses. I think they started in 3. They added bosses.
Yeah,
2 was
two is the
one that had
first.
Horde, and then they added bosses in 3, and they've added a class system.
And 4.
I mean, I personally love 2 and 3 the most, but that's probably just because that I was the right age, you know, like when we were playing it a lot, kind of thing. But yeah, I just have great memories of playing Horde.
I don't know if I'm biased because I started at 5,
You're biased.
or at least like getting into it instead of I'm biased. It's so good. It's just like the gameplay is so smooth compared to, because going back to like 3 and 2 and 4 is just not as smooth as the experience, I say. And I don't really enjoy it because of that. But the class system, the bosses, they're all just so much better in 5. To be biased, but it's just better. It's just better.
I mean, honestly, I could probably talk about Gears of War Horde for at least a few hours. You know,
It's so good, bro.
I could set the world record for that. Like Felix doesn't understand that in 2. So Gears of War 3 is one that started adding like stuff you can buy, you know, to like slowly build up your defenses. In Gears of War 2, the only build defenses you can get is the locust that had the shield. You would collect their shields and just put like 5 of them down in a line. And that's your only defense. Everyone would just sit in a corner and shoot, and it was the most fun thing, staying up till 3 a.m. It was like kind of like imaginary. It feels like, because there's like not as much to do. It just feels like you really just get the feeling of hunkering down and defending a spot. Like we're in like 5, you don't really get that because you're kind of OP and you do shit. I'm not saying that 2 is better. I'm just saying, you know, I could still see myself going back to 2 and playing it. But, I mean, probably 5 is the best. I liked what 4 tried to do with their class-based system, but it just kind of felt limited and kind of like, oh, you want to be able to be insane? Well, you need to buy some drop packs to level up your abilities. So I like how 5 felt better with that. So to me, it's either 5 or 3 for the best.
5.
But, yeah. So I'll bring up one next. I'll save that one for later because that one's a very long one. We could talk about Call of Duty Extinction, Ghost Extinction. That's like that's one of my favorite ones. Even though I've really only played the base map, to be honest. And I heard kind of that the DLC maps aren't as good as the base map. Oh, really? At least I heard like the first DLC one that they're not good. I don't know. I just loved Extinction. I thought it was like a great, refreshing way to like tackle zombies. Like I would honestly prefer like a Black Ops 6 or the next Call of Duty to have an Extinction game mode over a zombies game mode. Like I would like I don't I'm not gonna buy Call of Duty 6 Black Ops 6, even though it has the zombies. But if there was a Extinction too, they could be getting me in there.
I doubt it, but yeah, that base map was just so fun. Like the different like side objectives you can do, the map you can like basically do it anywhere if you wanted to. But you had to do the objective. You started just doing little things here and there, and then you get stronger and stronger. And then like the little bosses that came, like the Rhino. Bro, the Rhino gave me nightmares when I was a child playing that game. I don't know why. It's just like him charging you. I think it was called the Rhino. It was like the big one that charges
Yeah.
you.
That sounds
Oh yeah, I remember. Like when you're trying to like
Yeah, that
escape, they have like two that
Yeah.
come after you.
The second part was like the hardest for me because I could not defend that well for some reason, or like my team was his ass, I guess. That second one, that Rhino gave me numbers, bro. I
No,
hate
it
him.
was always the extraction part for me.
I think that was like the easiest part.
Really? I mean,
Not
it's
the
been
easiest,
so long since I've played
I
it.
remember that second point the most because it's hard.
I wonder like why we like it. I wouldn't say more than zombies, but like we like it because of zombies. Like, is it because like it had like a class system, and it was like more streamlined, like quests, sort of? Because like I remember like hunt down the leper or whatever.
Yeah, like the
You know,
little
alien
yeah.
or I don't remember all of them, but like it kills with certain weapons or stuff like that.
It felt like you had
And
something to do.
yeah. But like
Something different
sometimes
every
I
time.
I can get kind of bored with zombies when the only goal is to like live as long as possible. I mean that's not the only goal. Obviously you could do the Easter eggs and stuff, but it was kind of obtuse, you know, where this was more streamlined and easy to get invested in. But then again, I mean, we didn't even play all the DLC. I mean, I only played the first DLC map and then played the base map a ton. So it did fall off, I think. But I guess like that playing that first map and like maybe just not expecting that mode to be a thing maybe made it, you know, elevated it in our minds.
Yeah, I think the reason it kind of fell off is one, it was locked behind a paywall, and secondly, it took I think like 6 months or more for the first map to be added to Extinction. Like I remember that first DLC in Ghost took a while to come out, so I think like that could be a problem. But I like it makes me wonder that Call of Duty Extinction had a class-based system. Why has Black Ops Zombies not done a class-based system? Like Gears of War 5 did it. I think it turned out great. It makes it way better progression loop.
Dude, I don't want the new ones.
Well, I mean, you have this like the staff or whatever. Like you choose your starting weapon, but it's not really a class with like perks you can choose.
I guess.
I mean, it's kind of, but not really. Like the only like really
Yeah, it's
progression
insane.
is like leveling up your weapons, which like it's cool, but like I said, it just loses its touch. And I think like being in like the perfect age range for zombies, like 18-ish, 19. But like now, zombies has definitely fallen off for me. And once I get past round 20 on a zombies map, I start kind of getting bored, unless it's like my favorite map, or we're doing a challenge, like inventing our own progression. Kind of like if I just play a zombies map, I'm not gonna have fun just surviving as long as possible. Like I want to do like a challenge, like what me and Felix did that I saw off a YouTube series called We Friends or something. They do like Black Ops Zombies challenges, which made it fun. Like, oh, you want to hurry up, so you'll do like all the Black Ops 3 maps. You'll start on Shadows, and it's like, oh, first to get the special weapon in that map, then you quit and you go to the next map, and like me and Felix would like face each other. I think we did it in Black Ops 2. We did ray gun on each map, or no, we did special weapon. I think. No, we did Black Ops 3. We did Black Ops 3, and we did all of like the Zombie Chronicles maps, because I remember Felix getting stuck on Shangri-La trying to get the baby maker. I remember him pissed.
Stupid.
Yeah. But yeah,
I
Extinction.
mean, we could talk about Call of Duty more too.
Yeah, you're right. I'm
Although
getting,
you-
I'm going. Let me go back to Extinction. Sorry, I was just like kind of
Okay.
comparing the two, and like that's why kind of like I would love to have another Extinction, because Extinction just felt so refreshing, and like Brendan said, with all the missions and stuff, it just gave you something to do, and like they could easily do another thing like that in Zombies, and instead of doing 4 classes, you could do more. Like I just feel like they just don't put a whole lot of effort, or maybe they're scared to change it up. Makes me
I
sad.
mean, it was received poorly because Black Ops Ghost, not Black Ops Ghost. Call of Duty Ghost was received poorly as well. So just the whole
Right.
Well, I thought it was more
game,
so for like the multiplayer that the game was
it
received
was
bad.
everything. They didn't like the campaign. They didn't like the multiplayer. They didn't like the new mode. They didn't like any of it.
I don't know. People were
Which is because I
bitching.
think
I
it's
loved it.
my favorite Ghost.
I like that. Like I loved cranked and stuff. I don't know. People are tripping when it comes to that game. Anyway,
Which was nice.
since we're already talking about Call of Duty Zombies, I guess we can kind of head over to there. I guess I mean, if you're gonna talk about Call of Duty Zombies, we should start from the beginning. The first map, Nocturne Toten, World War and Call of Duty World War. I don't know, just Zombies hooked me in right when they came out because I remember beating the Call of Duty World War campaign and getting that little scary cutscene. Dude, I remember as a kid playing Call of Duty Zombies, being scared shitless of the zombies. Not gonna lie.
I couldn't play the Black Ops 1 Zombies because I was just like, it's dark, scary, and then like I only played in the dark, so I was like just hearing the voices like, I'm like, in real life I was like so scared. I could not get past round like 10 because I was ass, but it was pretty fun at the moment.
Yeah, I sunk the most hours in probably World at War Zombies, like doing Derise and Shinonuma and stuff. Those are my favorite maps because I don't know, they're kind of simple, but also they had. I mean, it was just cool at the time. You know, you never seen anything like that before, at least that I can remember. Where you know, you're playing the campaign or whatever, you finish it like you said, and it just puts you right into the zombies, and then they make it to a whole like franchise basically within the game.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we spent so much time sitting in the freaking catwalk in Derise, probably more time than a lot of games I've ever played,
Oh,
just doing that.
You're right.
And you know, they had like the Pack-a-Punch, which first came out in Derise, which was really cool. And yeah, I mean, that's where it captured me, was World at War, and then Black Ops 1 a bit too. You know, I mean, for me, I can only play a game so much, so I haven't really played a lot of the newer ones. But us playing them recently was fun too, and like seeing how creative they are with the maps, and even they get a little goofy sometimes, or a lot of the time, honestly. So yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed my time with it, and like, you know, us playing more maybe eventually, so we can do our top 5 zombies maps.
Yeah. So I
One day.
should preface this. The podcast that we were supposed to do this time was supposed to be our top 5 Call of Duty Zombies maps, and we were only spending to round 15 and then leaving the map. But we only made it to Black Ops halfway through Black Ops 3, and we put over at least 8 to 10 hours just getting there, only going to round 15. Like, I didn't realize how long it would take for these. But going back to what Brandon said about World at War, I just remember with Derise, when Derise came out, I remember coming home from elementary school, fucking getting on Derise with like a friend and just playing it for like 5 hours a day, just repeating the same loadout. I don't know why I was so addicted. I would get the PPSH and the Browning, and that's it. Then I'm done and we're good, and that's it. But I've kind of fallen off zombies with Cold War was like the most recent zombies game I liked, and the last one I liked was Black Ops 4, and I only played 9 in the Titanic map in Black Ops 4. I was like, I'm not going to sink my money into a season pass to this game. So the last season pass I bought was Black Ops 3, which is still my favorite zombies. Which I think I heard that they're in the Black Ops 6, they're adding Zombie Chronicles or something. I don't know, I heard something about a Zombie Chronicles news recently, and I didn't know what it was. I honestly, I couldn't be bothered to check it out. But like you know, like I wish zombies would be shaken up more with every year. Like I like that they try to do, like Brandon hasn't even tried this yet. They have non-round based zombies now. Like Brandon, they have, you know, the Warzone map. They have that, but for
Right.
zombies, and like you do
Yeah,
like
Corey
missions and
told me
stuff.
about it.
And it didn't feel like zombies to me. Like zombies, that feeling of core zombies is like being hunkered down or something. But I don't know, I don't know. You have to try it, but I just did you try that, Felix? The open map zombies?
And MW1, the remaster one, or whatever.
I think it was. What game added it? Was it Cold War?
I didn't play Cold War.
So you haven't even tried it. Anyway, it's kind of dog shit. I guess we can. I guess we can move on from.
I mean, we kind of talked about how we want him to change it, but then we didn't even try the change. Or I guess to a
No, I
distance,
mean,
but
like I said, I tried it. It just the. Let me think back to it. It's been a while since I tried it. Maybe because I played it alone, but it's just like a lot of the time you just run to an objective and like I don't know. I didn't feel like I was accomplishing anything with doing it. Like I thought it was cool. Yeah, I'm going to these areas, but like what progression am I getting? Like I like to have it like a sense of progression now that I'm older and I don't have as much time to play video games. When I play a video game, I want to feel like I'm getting somewhere. I'm doing something. That's why I like my favorite genre to play is roguelikes because you get what feels like the most amount of accomplishment in the shortest amount of time. You're like, oh, I just did a 15-minute run, yet I upgraded this, or I found this out, or I tried this out. You know, what I mean, that's why I love. That's why I love Vampire Survivors. I won't go on a tangent with Vampire Survivors, even though I've been playing that game a lot recently. But oh, is that okay if I bring up the next one to talk about? Even this is a brand new one. I didn't even have it on my list when I made this list. League of Legends
Sure.
new game mode Swarm. Felix has no fucking clue what this is, but Brandon's tried it and I've tried it, and I absolutely love it. So let me just. I guess I should be explaining what each of these game modes is, and not just assuming our audience knows what this is. So League of Legends has a new game mode coming out tomorrow called Swarm. It's their take on Vampire Survivors in a league game mode. And I've played about 4 or 5 hours of it on the early access site, and I thought it was phenomenal. Like it feels like it's Vampire Survivors where you're leveling up, getting new weapons, but you still feel like you're playing that League of Legends champion, which I thought they did great. Like being able to feel like you're still playing that league champion while having 5 other weapons doing shit at the same time. I think they did great. How did you feel about it, B?
I liked the cooperative aspect to it, which I assume you played single player, but
Yeah.
I like how you can kind of work together and save your teammate, and some abilities, like champion abilities, can like shield your teammate or whatever. But yeah, I do like how they incorporated like the champions into the abilities. Like you have, what is it, your E and your R.
Mm-hmm.
So you have 2 abilities basically. One's longer cooldown, um, and then a lot of time they have like some kind of passive. So like if you're playing Leona, you take the armor, um, you take the armor augment or whatever stats because it synergizes with her, whereas like Jinx is like cooldown reduction. So I like having that sort of innate, um, I don't know, like difference between characters,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not sort of. I mean, you can get the same-ish weapons, but you'll always have a different weapon if you're playing a different character, and they all feel different, which I liked.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to try more because I only tried 5 champions, and I think there's 9 coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought they did
Are
great.
they gonna add the whole roster?
No, the game, which I don't understand, this game mode's only going to be out for a month, and it seems like they put a lot of time to make this game mode together. And I hope that it's not going to be out for 1 month and then just disappear forever, like every other League of Legends game mode, like Odyssey and all the other like really good ones. Like I don't understand why these just can't be accessible to people in like custom games or something. I guess because then they would have to patch it when they like patch a champion, so it'd be difficult. So I don't know, but yeah, I really like it. Like Brandon said, I like how like Alawi in that game mode, she like is based off of like having duration, so you want to get duration weapons, and that's why I said like I thought they did great comparing to Vampire Survivors because Vampire Survivors has like 60 to 70 different weapons you can do total with all the DLCs, and there's nowhere near as many in the League of Legends one. You get it like every run can still feel very different even if you're doing like similar weapons. And I love how they added like missions with Yumi. I thought those were really cool. So you get unique passives every run. Vampire Survivors does not have that. Like I would love for like Vampire Survivors has something similar to that called Arcanas, but you choose that like at the start of the round and you can get like 2 more. So it's similar, but I kind of like how League of Legends does it with like how you have to do a challenge to get it, while in Vampire Survivors it's just a purple chest that can drop from an enemy, or I think it just can drop at any time during the round. I don't know exactly. But I guess real quick, is there any other League of Legends game modes you wanted to touch base with, B? Since I know Felix doesn't know any of these, so we might as well get all the League of Legends stuff out.
I mean, you could talk about Odyssey briefly. I didn't play Star Guardians. which I heard was pretty cool too. That was another PvE one, but Odyssey had it sort of like a campaign-ish mode inside League of Legends, and then they had where it was kind of roguelike elements where you would get gold or whatever to spend. And this one was more traditional League of Legends where you used your mouse to click like to move around and you had your abilities. And you would just fight like waves of enemies. But then you would get your abilities would go crazy if you upgraded them and stuff. And there was like a little story, and the theme was really cool with like this sci-fi sort of vibrant sci-fi like theme, which I liked. And it was like I think it was the first PvE game mode they ever did. So,
Yeah, they did the
I mean,
Stargard one after.
right, yeah. So that's all I wanted to say about that.
Yeah, I tried both of them, I remember, but I definitely liked the Odyssey one more. Like I just loved how they did like League of Legends, they do skin lines. You know what I mean? Like they'll like a patch will come out, they'll do 4 skins for like Infernals, and they'll have 4 Infernal skins. So with Odyssey, they did like 5 Odyssey skins, or no, it's like 6 Odyssey skins, and then you could play them in the game mode. And I think the reason I loved it so much is just you really felt the theme of those champion skins. Like they actually had an identity. Well, I feel like a lot of League skins nowadays really just don't have an identity. Maybe it's just because I'm older and I'm not like, I need to buy skins. Like maybe I'm just like a little older, so I don't think that as much with League of Legends skins, because a lot of League of Legends skins really don't interest me anymore. But like looking back at the Odyssey skins, I just thought it was like a great like theme. It just, I don't know, just like I wish League of Legends would do that more. Like when a theme comes out or a skin pack comes out, have some lore behind it. Like why not? Like it's gonna make people want to buy it more if there's some kind of reasoning behind it. But okay, we can move on. Let's talk about something you want to talk about, Felix. What PvE game mode you got for us?
The Halo Reach Firefight.
Mm.
Now this is a game. I used to play with my cousin because Reach was the first Halo I got into because I played with my cousin, and it's the only like offline thing I play at the time with him. So we played Reach like sometimes even like 10, 12 hours some days, right? Because we were just like
Grinder.
doing this. Yeah, I mean, we played what's it called? Just different weapons. We like did challenges on it and different difficulties if you wanted to like invert it or not. So like it was just like a fun part of my childhood where I can have time with him because I didn't see him that often. So when we did, we played just Halo because it was one of our favorite games at the time. So it just has a special place when I think about it.
Yeah, I personally think of Halo 3 ODST more in terms of Firefight. That was the original like Firefight. That was when it first came out, was ODST. Um, but I like Reach a lot too because it had like a lot of new weapons, whereas ODST was basically using the Halo 3 toolkit. But I love how like the challenges and like getting the achievements for them and like getting cosmetics because of that, and like the announcer just being baller, and like you could even change your announcer, which was cool. In Reach, like you could have Sergeant Johnson or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, I forgot about that. Or
Um,
I remember I had mine as a meal.
and I love the idea of skulls being implemented into it, where you have what is it called, Black Eye, where now your shields won't recharge unless you melee, or you have Blind, you don't have a HUD. You know what I mean? You have Catch, where they always throw grenades. Like, it added a lot of variety, um, and yeah, it was just cool to be on the multiplayer maps, but then having to fight hordes of PvE enemies. And they had some campaign, like, I don't know, like slices from the campaign maps also put in there, which was cool too. Um, yeah, I think the vehicles and like the skulls really set it apart from something like Horde from Gears of War. Um, yeah, so I like both of those though.
One thing I forgot to mention with Gears of War Horde is that they in Gears 3 they did have mutations which are very similar to skulls, because I remember there was one, it was called Big Head mode, where all enemies would have big heads, and they had a few others in that. But back to Halo, I think Halo Reach was my favorite firefight. I kind of liked Halo 3 ODST's firefight because it felt like more realistic. But yeah, I mean, I have a lot of good memories of playing Halo Reach firefight. you also had a score bait. It was score. So like I loved the idea of just, oh, I got to get more kills than everyone else. And I love that it had like the double kill, triple kill, quad. You know, I just loved how it also like had the emblems in it. So you know, because like I'm never really gonna get in overkill in multiplayer. I'm not that good, but I will in firefight. So I felt like I was getting some kind of accomplishment. But I was like, it also had a like great challenge with the skulls, too. Oh, I don't think, have we tried Halo Infinite's firefight, or was it just not that good?
I tried it.
I think I tried. I just
Um,
can't remember it.
Can't remember
I thought it
either.
was decent. They changed it up where it was like King of the Hill, where you had to like defend an area. Um, and like they didn't really implement vehicles that much. Um, I mean it was decent, but I don't know. I like the other ones more. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I think Reach. I don't know. Maybe we have to like retry him sometime. But I think I liked ODST the most for firefight. I don't know what about it, but just like if I had to pick from my
Oh,
memory.
they also added Flood to ODST Firefight a couple years ago, and I went and tried it, and that was really
Uh,
fun too.
they added Flood to a old ass game.
Well, I mean, it was on Master Chief Collection, but yeah,
Oh, okay.
they did. Yeah, I mean, it's really fun. We should play it sometime,
Yeah,
actually.
that'd be cool. I would download. I don't have Master Chief collection installed because that's like over 100 gigabytes. But I'd be down to try that again. That'd be fun. Okay. So I want to go. Oh,
Uh,
oh,
should I pick the next one?
yeah, you can go.
So I don't want to talk about too much, but the I was thinking like about what game modes to pick, and I was like, Mortal Kombat. Like I never did the PvP, but I feel like that's the most popular, version of it. And then in Mortal Kombat 9, which they just called Mortal Kombat, um, they added the challenge tower, where it was like 100 floors, and each floor had a different challenge, using a different character, pulling off a different combo, or doing some kind of crazy wacky thing. And I thought that was so cool at the time. And we did all, me and like I think it was Alec was helping me. We did all 100 challenges in like a couple days, and I thought that was cool to have like little, kind of like just changing the game in like crazy ways
Gives you
for
something
the
to do.
tower. Yeah.
I remember briefly trying that one. Like you just bringing it up, like unlocked memory. I don't know if that was the one that you said that we weren't gonna know. I don't know if you still got it hidden, but Challenge Tower was cool. But I also just like the tower one, like where it's just 10 towers. I think most Mortal Kombat games have had it. I don't remember when they started it.
Or it's just fighting 10 people.
Yeah, but I remember. I
Yeah.
think I don't know if it's every Mortal Kombat that does it, but I think it was like Mortal Kombat 9 or 10 that when you did the challenge tower, that's just the 10 after you finished it, whatever character you were playing as, it like showed like a universe where
Oh
they're the
yeah,
like
where they're the
ruler or
champion.
whatever. Yeah, where they're
Yeah,
the
right.
Right.
Yeah.
champion.
Like a story.
So I
Yeah,
loved that
that was
part.
fun.
Like I remember I played like a lot of characters just to see like what it looked like, even though it was like a very small thing. I would be like, oh, that's cool to see, just like how it looks slightly different with every character when they would do that.
Yeah, I remember for that. I tried. Obviously, I was younger, so I wasn't great at those games either. Uh, but yeah, with the good ones, I tried, and I was like, "Oh, these are cool." And then I was like, "I can't be with the other characters." And I go with like I looked up at YouTube, and I was like, "Damn, this lore is pretty nice." Because I'm a lore person, so like all that like different backgrounds and versions of the world that could happen if they won. It was pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also some other just bringing about Mortal Kombat. They have other cool ones like Test Your Mind stuff. I thought those were all cool little mini things. That's not really PVE though. You're fighting against
Yeah.
yourself. Imagine. Um, okay, you guys got one or should I go?
There you go.
Yeah, I
Okay,
have a couple more, but
I think I have one I want to save for last, but I'll just talk about this one briefly. Hearthstone's Dungeon Run. Brandon brought this up to me because I almost forgot about this. Thinking so, Dungeon Run was a Hearthstone like kind of like campaign. They had like a campaign area in Hearthstone, and this is where it was, and it was kind of like you picked it, one of the classes, and you would progress through 8 levels, and you would build your deck, and after every fight, you would either get new cards to add to your deck, or like a new special item to add to your deck. I put so many hours into Dungeon Run, and thinking back, I think Dungeon Run was my first roguelike. Dungeon Run is what got me into roguelikes, I think, if we're just being
I played
honest.
that every chance you could. Cooking, bathroom, in between queues in a different game.
Are you
you
talking
just
about
playing,
Hearthstone?
bro. Like, bro, you just playing.
I mean, I don't know. I've been in that game on every class. I did multiple runs on every character because like, oh, I could play Shaman. Well, I'll do a run where I try to get Jade with double Battle Cry or double Death Rattle. There was so many options on each character. I thought it was great, and they actually did a few like two other versions of it, and neither of them were as good as Dungeon Run. Like if I go to Hearthstone, if I wanted to boot up Hearthstone and try one of their roguelike game modes, I would just go to Dungeon Run, which was the first one that did it.
Yeah, I like it a lot too. I mean, it was just a lot of cool variety, and it felt like you were building a different deck every time. And then there wacky things would happen with crazy abilities and stuff. Um, yeah, and like the drafting part was always my favorite part.
Mm-hmm. Okay, who got one for us? What's another PvE game mode?
We could talk about Rainbow Six.
Outbreak?
Harrison?
I was gonna save that one because that was our longest talking one we could do, but that's fine. Let's do it. Or is
Okay,
there
I
other
think
siege
the long
ones?
Harrison.
One?
Huh?
You think that's the longest talking one?
Well, left that we could talk about. Is there another
Oh,
one?
okay. Well, I have a secret one. I haven't
Oh,
revealed yet
okay. We'll
that
save.
you haven't thought of, but yeah, we'll talk about Outbreak. I mean, it's like the first PVE game mode ever in Rainbow Six Siege, and
Terrorstone.
sure, but something that was put, they put a lot of thought
Yeah.
into. It seemed like, and they created characters for it, and there was a whole new map or maps. I think it was just one.
I
New
think
map,
it was one.
right?
They
Yeah.
added another one, I
And-
think, later down
But
the line.
I mean, just the mechanics of Rainbow Six Siege, and then in like a mode like that is really cool. It makes me, thinking about Outbreak makes me want to go play
Extraction.
Yeah. But I mean, Extraction didn't capture the same magic, I guess. But I mean, it kind of was like a one and done, so like it didn't have a lot of replayability. But yeah, I don't know, just one of my favorite games ever. Adding a mode like that where you can, do teamwork to take down, NPCs or whatever was cool and fun.
And it felt satisfying. If I really just I don't know, I was so surprised when they came out with it. Like nothing was changed. It's like still core gameplay. Like you build defenses in an area and like have to defend it, and then you'll have to go to the next zone. And it's just so weird that Extraction didn't capture us because all three of us actually played Rainbow Six Extraction together when it came out. Maybe it's better now if we tried it again and maybe they changed stuff. Just none of us latched on to Extraction. I don't know why, but Outbreak was it was cool. I remember just the characters Lion and Finka coming out, and that's honestly, when I look back, that's probably my favorite season, just because I liked the weapon skins that were with it. I liked the event, all the cool enemies. I think all the Outbreak characters got like a Outbreak, like a zombie looking armor set, and I thought they all looked really cool. Like I wish Siege would do something like that again with the PVE game mode, because I don't know. What do you got, Felix?
I mean, I feel like it was different because of how like realistic the siege is. Like the gunplay, and you're supposed to like step back and be defensive, and now when you're just going head first to a horde of zombies or whatever they were from the meteor or whatever. But that's what I feel like it was different. You push forward and you attack as a group instead of just sitting back and defending. And just like the new Finka ability, new line ability was just like different from what we're used to, I guess. Because I don't remember, was Echo before? Like that was like kind of futuristic, but not like, I guess nanobots are futuristic, but not as like as a zombie way, Like that's like fake, that can't really happen in real life. That's why maybe it felt different that way.
For Brandon, you said that there was a lot of I feel like there was a little bit of replayability with it when we played it because they had over 5 operators, and I just thought they did great with having the operator's abilities still feeling impactful in the PVE game mode, even though all of their gadgets were made for the PvP game mode. Like, I don't know, like when I think that's maybe what I didn't like about Extraction is that they kind of had the siege operators in it, and the siege operators didn't really feel different than just regular siege. Like, why was there not more changed up with either like the movement or something? Like when we played Extraction, it has like the same movement as siege. Like, why is it not more like where you could be more mobile and like slide and stuff? Like, I feel like that's
You
maybe
really want that?
I just with Extraction, I feel like the gameplay, like how you move your character or how the gun shoot should be slightly different. It just felt like Extraction was just here's a $60 extension of Siege that you have to pay for that we could have made in client, but instead we're charging you for it. Is kind of how it felt. It didn't feel different from Outbreak, when I feel like it could have been so much more. I don't know, maybe they didn't get a big enough budget from Ubisoft. They're like, you guys made this game at one time. Here's like a little bit of money to make your own game. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree to some of those points, like the movement, more movement would have been different at least, so it sets it apart instead of just being, like you said, core siege with just feeling like it's just a side thing, you know. It didn't feel really fleshed out in any other aspect besides, I guess, the zombies part.
Okay, what else we got? Is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about with Outbreak?
No. Go
Okay.
ahead.
No, I didn't have anything else. I just wanted to make sure we had everything covered. You have any other game modes, Felix? Are we moving on to Brandon's secret one?
You can move to the secret one.
Or is there any other ones besides your hidden secret 1B?
No. Except I just want to mention I liked Escape from Gears of War 5.
Oh, yeah, we didn't talk.
Um,
Yeah, we could talk about that a little bit, actually. I have that on my list. I don't know why I didn't talk about it.
which is like, you know, a roguelike Gears of War mode. I just thought the like environments and stuff weren't different enough, and maybe it just doesn't work in Gears of War, like that type of gameplay. But I mean, it captured my imagination for sure, and I wished I liked it more. But I mean, I really liked how they had a spin-off campaign and stuff with the characters, so I'm glad they made it. But I wanted to mention that as well, that I enjoyed that.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah, I forgot that one existed, but I did enjoy that a little more than Horde, I think, because it's on the harder difficulties. I feel like it do more team play, because like with Horde you can like just do your own thing, run around.
Yeah.
You can defense, but like you can do your own thing, you know, be a solo man. But with that one, you really have to play as a team. Because if you don't play as a team, like you just get smoked every time. You get one shot, you're dead. You're down to two, you have to go revive him. Now the guy's coming up to you. You know, it's like time's on your ass too. So I just like it felt a little more difficult than Horde.
actually, I really liked Escape. I thought the enemy variety like was good, using the enemies at like certain times. I thought it was really cool how they added like a kind of like a Mario. What's the Mario building game like that? Like how you can like kind of like make your own custom maps. I thought like that.
Right,
I thought that was really cool. I think the only limiting thing for Escape for me was the map diversity, and by map diversity I don't mean like map layout. I mean like how the maps looked. Every map, no matter what, had like the same looking structures and everything, because it's all based off like trying to escape some underground, swarm nest. But the swarm nest always had like the same like machinery look and everything. Like, why couldn't there have been like an escape map? Well, I guess because it's the gas that's following you. But I mean, I guess you could have done the gas following you somewhere else. Like that would have been so cool. Like Gears of War 5 had that DLC where you played as the escape members and you were on that island. It would have been so cool if there was an escape map on the island. Like with just how good the scenery looks and everything. I thought that'd been really cool. I guess one more thing with Escape is I really liked how you were limited by time because you did have that smoke following you. So it felt like there was a good amount of strategy you could do. I just didn't like with just, I don't know, it had a good amount of replayability. I didn't play it as much as Felix did. Like Felix played it a lot more, but
I played it a lot. It was really good.
I probably tried every single map that they had available. They didn't make that many maps for Escape, unless I'm wrong, Felix.
Yeah, they have pretty much a handful of maps, but the difference in enemies and
Yeah, yeah.
modifications made it different each time, in my opinion.
I just wish there was more like different maps. I think is like when I look back, the only thing I harp like for me, Horde, even Gears of War 5 Horde. I would still rather play Horde than Escape just because there's like 15 different Horde maps. You know what I mean? That you could choose from where every time you get to go to you can camp out in different areas. One other one I wanted to briefly bring up that Brandon didn't try is a disappointing one. We're gonna before we get to Brandon's secret one, I got a disappointing one, which is Overwatch PVE. God damn. I'm sorry, I want to vent a little bit. Like, holy shit, you're gonna make a whole game for PVE for you to have like a few maps come out that you have to pay for, and then you just drop it. And even the ones that they did have, I thought were kind of cool. It just felt like it was so low effort, like no abilities or nothing. Like what people wanted with an Overwatch campaign was to do more with the characters, and you added nothing more. It's literally just here's how the characters feel in multiplayer. You don't get a level up or anything. You just do missions. Like it just felt so underwhelming when they really could have done so much with its engine and the characters and the lore, and it just so sad. I would have loved it. And they even have tried some game modes. Like they had like a tower defense one that came out 2 seasons ago, and it was like the worst piece of shit thing I ever saw. Like it was one map that was literally just like a grid map. You know, like a grid map that's just like blue transparency or whatever. Like it looks like you're in like the creator engine for a game. That's what it looked like. And then there was like barely any upgrades or anything to do in that game mode. It was just so dog shit.
In the training?
No, in the I don't even think you played the game mode when it came out 2 seasons ago. That's how dog shit it was. Like no one even talked about it. It was like a tower defense game mode in Overwatch. Did you try it? Exactly.
They're talking about the training.
No.
That's what the visuals are.
No, it's similar to that training, but just and it's on that. Okay, what you got, Brandon? We've been really hyping up your secret thing. Oh, you're muted. Oh, okay.
I don't know why we're hyping it up so much, but I guess that's my fault. So, you had mentioned Terrorist Hunt earlier, but not Rainbow Six Siege, but in Rainbow Six Vegas too.
Oh, bro. I was just talking to Felix about this game recently, which is so funny.
So many times. I mean, we played the PvP quite a bit, but like the same maps also had Terrorist Hunt on them, and so many times it felt like a puzzle that you had to like solve when you played on what was it called, realistic difficulty.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean we would just go into a map over and over and over and figure out like how do we bait them out and then kill them, and then the last 10 or whatever would come searching for you, so you'd have to make sure you're ready. And I don't know why it just felt like you were like methodically like clearing the house or whatever. It felt like a puzzle, like, but also like Splinter Cell sneaking around or whatever. But on those PvE maps that were actually really cool in Rainbow Six Vegas too, like really quite big and like interesting and complex. And you would think about like, do I rappel here into this window? You would memorize like, oh, there's a guy on the right, guy on the left, but then they'd also be patrolling a bit, so it wouldn't be that easy. And then just thinking about like your loadout and stuff, I always thought it was. I mean, we had so much fun trying like realistic Terrorist Hunt in Rainbow Six Vegas too. We probably played that more than any other mode in that game.
For sure. I remember I even somehow I got max rank in that game. I remember playing. I mean, when that game came out, I was very young, so I don't remember a whole lot, but I definitely remember playing Terrorist Hunt. And I think the reason we liked realistic so much is because it was very punishing. You would die in a few bullets, but like Brandon said, like I remember playing on the base map Villa, playing on realistic solo as a child, and I remember just trying to beat that map solo so many times, and when then I finally did it, I'm like, oh, the first time I did it, I went down below and to the left. What if I just go straight to the right and go upstairs into the house and try to beat it that way? And I just remember trying to beat different levels by starting in different areas because enemies would. I just feel like maybe the AI for the bots just were good because like, or maybe they weren't good. I don't know.
Maybe it was the opposite. Yeah.
And maybe they're just bad. I don't know, because I feel like sometimes they would come search you out, but then now I think about it, I'm like, I remember sometimes like being like one enemy left and trying to find them, and they're just sitting there in a fucking corner staring at a wall. But we definitely got to give that a try with Felix. Make him try that game fun, yeah. And playing that Terrorist Hunt. Like, when Siege Terror Stunt came out, I wish it was like Rainbow Six Vegas 2. I mean, it's made by the same company. You think, come on, man. Instead of having Rainbow Six Extraction, let's do Rainbow Six Terrorist Hunt and make its whole own game. Imagine. Felix has nothing to add because he's never played it, but I think you would like it. I think even going back now, the controls might feel limiting with like your movement, but I think it's in a good way, not in a bad way, with how you feel limited with movement.
More realistic.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
even
Like
more,
you can
like,
hug walls.
technical.
Like if you hugged a wall, you would go to third person. So then like kind of like you'd be able to see around the corner to see if there's an enemy there, and like kind of like set up and you could do co-op. Okay, now let's talk about our books. You know, in the intro of this podcast, I said we only read one book a year, but I have been doing better, and that's only because I've gone into audiobooks recently. So I'm kind of cheating. I'm kind of cheating because I'm not improving my reading comprehension, really, or my vocabulary. But I still feel like I'm totally absorbing this story as just as much as if I was reading it. But I guess we could start. I don't really have my books in any certain order because I honestly have not read enough books in my lifetime. But I will just start with a book series that I found recently that I got both Felix and Brandon to start, which is called Helldivers. Don't get it confused with that new game that just came out on PlayStation. Very different. Helldivers is just so cool. What it is, it's just a post-apocalyptic world where the last remnants of humanity live in these blimps. And these blimps were the same thing that destroyed the world because the nukes dropped from these blimps. And now, 250 years since the world was destroyed, there's only 2 blimps left, and all the main characters are on the blimp called Hades. And it's just a really cool story with just like
It's
seeing.
not Hades, but
I hate it.
Oh no, that's where they drop.
Hades is the
That's
place.
Hades is where the
Yeah.
place where they drop. I don't remember. I remember Ares is the name of
Nest.
the other
One, right?
Yeah.
Or the Hive.
The Hive. There you
The
go. It's the Hive. Yeah.
Yeah.
But how many books have you guys read of this series?
I haven't even finished the first book yet.
I finished the first one. I started the second one.
Oh, I'm on book 5. I wanted I won't spoil, but I just will say, like, once they start getting through the books, they start exploring the land a lot more. And now in book 5, they're in the ocean, and there's like you're like seeing all these creatures, like, and you like find out like I can't spoil it for Brandon, but it's just like the way you find out about like how these creatures came to exist in this world that are killing the Helldivers when they drop down to the planet. It's so amazing. I love it. What you guys got?
So I did put mine in order. I don't know if I'll just do it.
Yeah, just go ahead.
So I just did a top 5. So my 5th one, and I was thinking like, a lot of the books I'm gonna mention are like more recent reads, like the last 5 years. But like, I mean, I read a ton of books when I was like a young adult or whatever, like the young adult books or teen books. You know what
Bro,
I mean?
Hatchet goes
Yeah,
hard.
sure. And so I was trying to think of like which ones stuck with me, and I went with The Hunger Games: Catching Fire. So that's the second book in the Hunger Games, and I just remember like this was before the movies came out. I read these, and I think I was in 8th grade or 7th grade, something like that, and Catching Fire specifically I liked a lot because after the first one, it was a new Hunger Games, like a new setting, so it was cool to figure out like what the I can't remember the name, but like the people who control the game, like what they were changing. And I always loved in the books, and they don't really explain this in the movies, but like in the books they would always explain like their motivations for why they had the setting this way, and like a bunch of past settings that they would have, like they had like an urban environment like with buildings that are like destroyed and stuff like that, which was cool to hear about. Or like they had one, I think they said they did one where it was like a desert, just like a desolate desert, and the last person survived because they were the only one who like didn't starve to death or whatever.
Oh,
And I thought it was
wow.
just cool
Yeah.
to hear about that, because I like hearing about, I don't know, dystopian societies or whatever. But Catching Fire I liked a lot because it had a really cool story with like how Katniss is. I forgot. I can't remember the name, but like they have like a person, like a. Oh, maybe I should have thought about what I was gonna say before I said it, but they have like a person who like mentors them, who won the Hunger Game with their district or whatever, and he told his story about how he won, and I thought that was so cool. And they didn't even include that in the movie. But yeah, I just thought, and then the whole plot with how they like beat the people who control the Hunger Games in the second one. Um, and yeah, I mean it's been 10 years or even how old am I now? I guess it would be like 14, 15 years since I read that book, but it still sticks with me a bit.
I never read. I remember I started the first Hunger Games book, but I mean I was like really young, like 10 or 11 or 12 maybe when I started it. But I mean like just like what you're saying about how much more is added to it that they don't have enough room to fit that into a movie.
Yeah.
Like that's why I liked the President Snow Hunger Games movie, like how they had like a different environment for that was cool. So I would love to see like all the different environments that they had set in the book. What you got, Felix? Number 5. Or do you have anything to add on Hunger Games? Did you ever read the Hunger Games books?
I read like the first one, like half of it, because I was interested at when the first movie came out, and then I watched the movie and I was like, why read the book? So I didn't finish it,
Mm-hmm.
but I wish I did. 'Cause it was pretty good, from what I remember reading.
Okay.
Yeah. So for my number 5, it's kind of a basic one, but honestly I kind of like it because I saw the movie first, and then I read the book in class. Hint, hint. In class, and I was like, oh, this is actually a really good book. I liked it a little more than the movie, and it was The Great Gatsby.
No fucking way.
Yeah, like surprisingly, like it was one of the few times where I remember thinking, oh, they're gonna get together at the end. It's like a happy thing, and then bang, no spoilers, but bang, the ending happens, and I was like, damn.
I think you could spoil it.
Shut the fuck up. If you didn't say anything, it wouldn't be a spoiler. But yeah, it's just I remember thinking, damn, that's like more realistic, like not everyone has a happy ending, and kind of made me like kind of depressed a little bit, like in a weird sort of way, because I was like, damn, that's real life. Like not everything happens the way you want it to, or do you think is gonna happen. And I remember that having a big impact. I mean, during the time, I was just like, man, that's so sad.
That's just
so depressing. It's just remember, I like the sad stuff, like, the gory stuff, the sad stuff. I love. And like,
bros into trauma porn.
Yeah, I don't know. It makes me think. I don't know. It makes me think.
It's just so funny. I'm sorry. It's just so funny that you loved that book and everything when I don't. I that book we read the book and I watched the movie in class, and neither of them left really a mark on me.
I like them both.
Maybe now and I'm older. I'm more mature.
My type of.
Yeah, I mean I loved Tangerine. That's a book I remember reading in like middle school.
I remember reading. I don't remember.
It was about like some soccer kid that got his eyes fucked up. That I remember more about that book than I do The Great Gatsby, and I read that Great Gatsby in high school.
Being authentic.
I remember the name.
It was either Great Gatsby or fucking Mice and Men, because of like how sad the ending is. It's just like I don't know why. I guess that's what started me. The trauma porn. I don't know.
Okay.
It's the sadness at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my number 5.
I'll do my number 4 now.
Well, I would say real quick, I like Great Gatsby too. I mean, read it in like literature class or whatever, and a lot of it was like analyzing like the figurative language and like the figurative devices and whatnot. I remember thinking sticking with me was like the I don't know if you call it like a foreshadow or like a mood setting device, but it was the Great Gatsby. Gatsby would always look out his window and see on the other side of like the bay, the lighthouse, and like the green light coming from the lighthouse. And it was kind of like foreboding on like not everything is gonna work out. You can see the light, but are you actually gonna reach it?
Are you actually getting closer to it?
Yeah. So that always stuck with me, and it still does. Thinking about that.
my nightmares are just a green light.
All right, Jake, go ahead.
Okay, my number 4, I'll just list them. That one was kind of my number 5. My number 4 is not like a fun book. It's more of a serious book. It's a book I actually had to read for my English 101 class last semester. It's called How to Find the Work You Love. It really opened my third eye for me, you could say. Just, you're always told throughout middle and high school to, oh, when you go to college, do something, work for something that you love. Like, I love playing video games. Do you have a job for me to do that? No, you don't. Okay, so like I need some help figuring it out, and I think the book does a really great job at first like telling you the problems of not like working in a field that you love, and then the second half of the book kind of like talks about like how to do it, like what to think about and all these things. Like it talks about, what did you like to do as a child and what kind of like workforce does that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I love, say, making people happy or making people feel better as a child. Well, maybe as an adult, you would find a lot of self-fulfillment in being like a therapist, making people feel better, or, like a child caretaker or something. But it like kind of just like breaks it down for you and makes it a lot easier. Because even college counselors don't even really help you with how to find a job. So it's kind of like the book gives you the tools to figure it out yourself, and that's just what I love.
Yeah, you've been talking about that book for.
I had Jabari read it, and he says he really liked it. Jabari is my girlfriend's brother, and he's about to go into his first college semester. And I told him, really read this book and think about it, because this could really help you. And he said, like, yeah, it actually, like, he completely changed what he was going to major in, and like kind of changed his thought process, and is now talking to his counselor about how to get into a type of job that is what he wants. Like I talked to him, like, you want to find something self-fulfilling in life, because you're going to have to work a lot, sadly. So you might as well do something that is good for you. And like Brandon's whenever you talk about like what you do for work, or what you want to do for work, or what you should do for work, you have so much interest in it, and you just sound so happy about it. And the book talks about when you truly love what you do, so many more doors open up for you than other people, because people can see that passion in you, and you're more willing to put in the hours and the work because you have the passion, because you love it genuinely. Okay, we can stop talking about this boring stuff. We can get back to the fantasy novels.
I haven't read it, so I can't.
I know. It's fine. I just had a serious moment. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I like fiction, so I mean, I read like I had to read a lot like doing my master's and stuff, which was nonfiction. But I don't know. For leisure, I usually just do nonfiction. I mean, I don't think you guys want to hear about like my favorite paper on like the origin of mantle plumes or something.
It's on the list.
Which can kind of be a book, but anyway. So my 4 is Mistborn: The Well of Ascension. Maybe I just like sequels. So this is the second book in the trio of Mistborn books, and it's kind of like something you don't see that often is like what happens after the hero wins. And like, did the hero actually win? You know what I mean? Like, how does the hero deal with the anxieties of like now, taking control, or like, being the new boss? And that's sort of what it tackles in the book, and it just has a really cool mystery that surprised me personally, and it had a really big revelation at the end. Even you can call it a twist or whatever. And yeah, I really enjoyed that one, particularly out of the 3 Mistborn books.
Personally, Mistborn is my number 1. It's not the second one. I kind of want to save talking about it since it's my number 1 when I get there. But it was hard for me to choose which one was my favorite Mistborn book, because like Brandon said, the second one is all about, well, they won and now they have a million consequences they have to deal with. While 3 is kind of like, it's the continuation of those consequences to the final stage, and just how they finished it. Anyway, Felix, you need to read those books. He has them on his library app. Just a real quick PSA for everyone out there, go get a library card. It's free. Libraries will go away unless we use them. It's like they're kind of important. We should use them. It's free. You can get a library card online. You don't even have to go to your library, because I told all my coworkers about getting library cards. I got 8 of my coworkers to get library cards. I felt very accomplished with myself. Anyway, like the third one, he's like, oh, I have to go in person to get a library card, and he like looked it up on his phone, and you could just get your library card on your phone, and then there's an app that you can link your library card to, and then you can just get free audiobooks. Like, if you look at audiobook prices online, it's insane. It's like $20 a volume. Like, me reading these audiobooks at work, I can crush through an entire one in a day. So you're telling me I got to spend $20 a day on audiobooks? No, you can just get them for free. Okay, sorry, that's my PSA.
My number 4, give me a second, was V for Vendetta, and I watched the movie first, but basically the whole book is similar because it does the same thing, but I liked it more because it goes in more detail, like how this affects this character more instead of just showing it like in their face or whatever. It gave me more the word, I guess, info on how they felt, and it really made the story feel deeper in that way. And I just like the movie in general. Like, it's honestly probably one of my top 3. If I think about it, probably top 3 movies.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Why. It's really good. I don't know why I like it so much, but it's just peak, as you say, Jake.
Peak.
I love it.
Do you have you seen V for Vendetta B?
No.
I read it.
Maybe I should.
Okay.
Pretty good.
Well, my number 3 is a little book called The Fall of Reach. It's a Halo book. I've only read the first 3 Halo books, so I have Ghost of Onyx, whatever. That's the 4th book. I haven't read that one yet. But from the first 3, I think the reason why I like the first, I think Brandon told me that they've like retconned a lot of things in that book, right?
Yeah.
But like the stuff that I think Brandon said didn't retcon was like how they chose Master Chief and everything, and like what they did to those children and everything. Like, Felix, is you okay if I just tell you?
I know mostly what they did. I watch videos and stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like, I don't know, I just loved the book because like you don't really get that kind of stuff in the games because it's all about the current. It never goes about his past. Like, when they chose Master Chief, he was just a really like kind of like a smart child who was like known to have like luck on his side, and just seeing like, oh yeah, they just stole all these children, cloned them so that they can leave a clone of them behind, but they actually didn't even know how to use cloning technology, so all those children like died like 6 months after they took them. And like, that's just one thing I loved. I also just loved how it talks more about Master Chief's personality, because in the games you don't see Master Chief's personality. In the game is that he kills a lot of shit. He's like, yo, like that's his personality. But in the books, like, I love how it talks about like Master Chief isn't the smartest Spartan or the strongest Spartan or any of that. He's just the one that's most willing to do it, because even though he has the same fears as everyone else, he's just the one that will. He's just him. He will do it. Yeah. Mhm.
He is him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like that one a lot too. I liked hearing about like the origin of like, just like the first missions they accomplished and like why the Spartans came to exist, and like it wasn't because the Covenant was there. They just got lucky. It was actually a war against other humans. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like, it was cool to like. There's a very dark side to like the origin of like the Spartan program. So, yeah, I like that one a lot too.
Well,
I have a Halo book on mine, but
one last thing I wanted to bring up about it too, what I really loved, is you don't see it in the Halo games, is how Master Chief interacts with the other Spartans. Like, from really the games, you don't really see Master Chief interact with other Spartans, but just to see that like he was the top Spartan, like he was the leader of them all. And just to see like the interactions, so I'm like, oh yeah, Kelly's the strong or the fastest one, and just to see like how Master Chief like feels after like seeing all of his friends start dying, and he's like, what did I do wrong? Like, how was I supposed to do this mission better? I just love that. Even though I'm not a bit like a crazy military lover or anything, I just love how they go into detail. What you
What I
got,
was gonna
Brandon?
say is
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say that is yeah, Brandon told me about the origin of it. I was like, what? That's the real reason they did that. And then I had to like look up videos and stuff, and I was like, wow, that's pretty fun about
I know,
like
right?
Jesus. Just for poor, just people that didn't want to be part of that, and they just
Yeah.
create like the most badass
To
Spartans
like
ever.
assassinate the leaders of the
Exactly.
rebels. Yeah. Yeah, in one of the books, they the beginning of the book talks about like one of their like first missions, like assassinating like an insurrectionist leader, which is cool. I don't remember which one it is, but one of the early ones. Like it takes place before the fall of Reach,
Mhm.
but it's like a later book.
I remember the one of how Emil got his mass that way,
Yeah,
leading himself, and then he was like the fighting the insurrectionists, and I was like, damn, like he has no love for these people, even though like they're his same. At that point, it's like his enemy, but later his beef, for humanity. So it made him
right.
like switch different. I was like, I don't know, it's a different side to what the games tell you.
Okay.
What trauma
Right.
that's using it like.
Yeah. So my number 3 is 1984. Just read this one really recently, like not even 6 months, like 4 or 5 months ago. It's super famous dystopian society where it's like the government is like it's like a surveillance state basically. Like the government always knows what you're doing, and they like install these like TVs in everyone's home, and it always has to be on, and it's like constantly it has to be a certain volume. The only like privacy you have is like sleeping basically, and it follows this guy who, you know, even though he's grown up in it, he knows it's wrong, and it's like him tackling with that and like breaking the law, and then like getting captured, and I mean it's a bad ending, like because like they capture you and torture you, and have you heard of like Big Brother is watching you? That's like the origin of that saying is from that because they call the government Big Brother, and it's
Oh.
like they try to get you to love Big Brother through torture, and it's like yeah, and he has to like grapple with like a remote romantic relationship which is not allowed unless it's like sanctioned by the government, you know what I mean? So yeah, it was just, and it was, I mean, it's really like heartbreaking and like scary and harrowing, but a really well done like dystopian society, like the way they deal with like language, like they're trying to take away words from the language so that you can't express yourself as easily. So yeah, it's really well done. Maybe the best ever like dystopian like surveillance state like type of thing that I've ever read.
Yeah, I realize now that I didn't explain V for Vendetta, but it's kind of similar to what that is. Like the dystopian, like
Oh,
one
gotcha.
government ruler. Yeah,
Okay,
I didn't have that
cool.
love story per se, but yeah, the main character is very intriguing, in my opinion. But yeah.
Okay, I mean that makes me more intrigued to
Yeah.
read it.
Yeah, maybe I'll read that. I literally
Explain.
just put the 1984 book on hold on the Libby app.
It's pretty short too. It's pretty short.
Sponsored.
Bro, I'd be sponsored by a library. But yeah, it seems cool. I like dystopian society stuff. Like I remember reading 2 books in school. Like one was about the one where they abolished all books and stuff. I thought it was really cool. You gotta love some dystopian society stuff.
Is that one Fahrenheit 451?
Yes, Fahrenheit 451.
Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
I've read that one too. I like that one a lot too. That one was like my number 6 basically.
Yeah, I kind of want to reread that one eventually because I think I read that one in like middle school.
We have it here, don't we?
Yes, we do. I think
Yeah,
Lupe
I-
read it
my
recently.
My
So-
copy is there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give it a look. See.
Give it a look. See.
Yeah,
It's
I
not, as,
really
it's
like
not as harrowing as 1984, so it's not as like for me anyway. It's not as like hard to read basically.
But yeah, if
The-
you guys like that dystopian type of stuff, I recommend you for Vendetta.
Fahrenheit 451 is not as hard to read. Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, because I mean that because it has like a better ending, like you know what I mean. But
Right.
1984 is what you're saying does not,
Right.
which kind of shows
Well,
you the real
yours-
picture. Okay, what you got, Felix? Number threes.
Sorry, get the 1984 book in the register.
I know I put it on
Number
hold.
3 is by All Tomorrows. Basically, a book of how a alien race came to humans and just changed us genetically. So literally, all the animals and everything on the planet was human or previously human. So like even a different planet, like we went to, I think it was our galaxy. I think it's in the future, so we're encompass all of the galaxy, and they came over and said, "You're less, you're nothing," and just changed us fundamentally. So like there was a shark thing. It was like a shark thing that they changed us into. There was the more what's it called, more resilient people of us that fought back. We're turned into cubes of just flesh with our full thinking capacity intact, so we can just suffer entirely. It's just so good. And then later, our future selves that stayed in space fought a different version of us, and then basically just ended us. And that's like very depressing, but it was very interesting read on that one, honestly.
Seems really cool.
Mm.
Okay, my number two is Gears of War Jacinto's Remained. I've only read Remnant. Sorry, dear God. I've only read the first two Gears book, and Gears of War is also my favorite video game franchise. So there's probably some bias on why it's my number two book. The reason why I picked number two, Gears of War Jacinto's Remained, over Aspho Fields.
What is remain?
I'm having a Ramito moment. The reason I pick it Remnant over Aspho Fields, which is the first one, I think it's because that book takes place right after Gears of War 2. Like, end of Gears of War 2 is you just sunk Jacinto. And then it picks up literally immediately after where they're trying to evac everyone and frickin' Bernie's like about to die, holding off to some shingle on a roof because the entire city is flooding and sinking. And I just love how it's just a great like character study on like some characters like how Dom reacts after losing and having to kill his wife. Like in Gears of War 2, you see him like sad because he kills Maria, but then it skips all the way to Gears of War 3 and like you don't really like see that it's affecting him. So like in Gears of War 3 when spoiler for Gears of War 3, when Dom commits suicide to save everyone, it was kind of like out of pocket for me because I just didn't see him like why he did that. But going and reading that book, it really shows you just how much he struggled with having to kill his own wife and blaming himself for it and just all that and just also like, well, humanity just lost its last surviving place, so now we got to make a new one, and it's just the struggles of like having to rebuild your population while also dealing with some remaining locust.
Yeah, that's my number 2. I just finished it, and I agree on everything you said. Like it shows you the difficulty he had with after killing his wife. It's just I was kind of sad, like hearing him like not be all there. Like when you think he's like since the first book, he's like the badass guy doing everything.
Commando down.
Yeah, saving his family, doing all that, and then to see him just crumble at this book is just very depressing, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. I think I like the Slab more, which is the fourth or no, I think it's the fifth book.
Yeah.
But no, I like that one a lot too, and definitely like you said, like the direct continuation and like seeing the island and stuff. And like thinking about like how do they grapple with being the last humans on Earth and whatnot is
Okay, what you got, Brandon? Number 2.
Okay, so my number 2 is Halo Contact Harvest. I was between 2 Halo books. I thought about including 2 on my list, but I decided it was lame. So Contact Harvest, I don't know if it's like the 5th or 6th one, but it is one of the first in the timeline. In that it's called Contact Harvest because it's the first contact with the Covenant on the planet Harvest, and like it was so like nerve-wracking, even though I know it's gonna go poorly, of seeing it follows Sergeant Johnson on the planet Harvest, and he has like this militiamen, and like the Covenant show up, and they're not violent yet because they haven't figured out that the humans like effed up like Forerunner artifacts and like whatnot. So they meet the Covenant. It's like a brute, and they're trying to give the brutes like food and stuff, and like it goes super poorly, like trying to like communicate. Then of course all war breaks out basically, and it's like Sergeant Johnson trying to figure out like how to survive with just like this tiny militiamen, and obviously they fail, but yeah, it was really cool to see like the contact point, which is like a very common like thing with sci-fi, like first contact with an alien race kind of thing.
Yeah, you get introduced to Sergeant Johnson in the third Halo book. Bro is really him. Like, he's like I don't know if he's like the coolest team in the Halo series. Like how I don't know why like the infected isn't interested in him or whatever. Maybe it's just like I said, he's just him, bro. Got the cigar, he's just him.
Because they had to explain like how he survived in Halo 1 when all the other Marines got infected or whatever.
Yeah, so. Did they ever like give a reasoning why the infected weren't interested in him?
I don't remember, to be honest.
I guess
maybe
it's
he's
just him.
Yeah.
It's the cigar, bro. He's like, they're not interested in people that smoke cigars. What you got, Felix? Number Rudos?
Well, as I said earlier, my number 2 is Jacinto Remnant, not Remont.
Ramatra.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Same thing. The different scenery, because I'm used to like Gears having like that city vibe, the ruined city vibe. So like picturing them on the island, I guess it's kind of like the spinoff from Gears 5 escape characters.
Yeah, with Kate and 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even in 4.
So that's why that's why I kind of pictured like that. And yeah, I do like the story with what was the sniper? I forgot her name. I just finished.
Bernie,
yes, Bernie. I like the backstory it gives with her. That was pretty nice too.
Yeah.
And then meeting, because when they were describing Daisy at the end or close to the end, I was like, are they talking about Daisy?
The time like, boy Daisy.
Like, I don't know why I like him so much.
Yeah, like how he's like twin daughters and everything, and like how they see him as just like a stranded because he looks like a hillbilly, and how they judge stranded. It's funny how
he was a stranded.
Yeah, he was. You're right. Yeah, he was.
I like the further backstory they give on everyone. It was just nice to know more information about them, or lore, I guess.
Yeah, I think my favorite, if I had to pick between like two characters in the Gears of War books that are my favorite, that are different from like the games, it's probably Hoffman and Cole. And I think Cole gets like a really good spot in 3 because like he's kind of like the closest person to Baird, and like kind of like also Bernie, and just seeing like he's the biggest buffest motherfucker on the unit, but he like also has like the biggest heart of everyone. And I guess I don't know, maybe I relate to that, but yeah, it's
fucking
so
humble yourself. Holy shit!
I meant biggest heart. I meant the heart part and being a fat ass. I'm not trying to say I'm fucking Cole. I am not him. Imagine. Okay, well, I guess we could just move on, right, to my number 1, which I already said, which is the third Mistborn book, which is oh my god, what's the name of it? The third one?
The Hero of Ages?
Hero of Ages, yes. I finished that one about a month ago, so maybe it gets the recency bias compared to 2, but I love that, like, can I spoil this shit, Felix? Do you care? You're gonna read them, right? Mistborn?
Yeah.
Okay, you won't. I won't. I just love the way they end the story, and it feels like it actually has an ending, and then like apparently there's like a continuation of the series called The Alloy of Law, which I kind of want to read those books. But I just love in the third book how it has just like a key character, Spooks, like have a major role, and like just like seeing like just Brandon Sanderson as a whole is just so amazing at writing characters to feel like they're human, and like he just like understands human emotions. Be like, oh, I understand why Vin would do that because that's how a 18-year-old girl would act or whatever. And just like the whole like combination of everything, I remember just like having my heart race in like the last hour of the book when like it was like the super peak climax when they're defending the outpost. I just like, holy shit, what's gonna happen? Just like wanting to know more. Like I remember like that book, that audiobook is like 27 hours, and I just wanted to listen to that book all day. Like that's just when I wanted. I just wanted to sit there and just listen to it because it was just so good. Like a brief tangent. Another I forgot to mention this is my honorable mention. Another Brandon Sanderson series called Alcatraz versus the evil librarians, and that one's more so marketed towards like young adults, like 16 through 18, or maybe even like 14 to 12 to like 20. I mean, I read it at 21, and I still found it very funny and engaging. I think it's like another great uh, series. Like, bro literally just has like people doing lenses battles with glasses, like they're doing a fucking Kamehameha battle. Yeah, like they literally like put on a lens. Yeah, they like the lenses have different colors, and like based off the color, they have like different attributes. So like the main villain and like the main character's grandfather at the end like have a battle struggle where they keep on putting another lens and then having another lens on top of their lens and having like a laser battle. Like, bro literally just made a Kamehameha battle in a book about librarians. But yeah, that was my honorable mention.
Sounds interesting, especially with that
You should try it. I think
lens laser fight.
no, you should I think on Libby. Imagine on Libby you can get the Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians. I think there's not even a hold for the book series. It's not because it's not as popular as other Brandon Sanderson series. But I think you should try it, Felix. It's interesting. Oh, sorry. Okay, when I'm saying
kind of skipped over the Hero of Ages to talk about your honorable mention.
you're right, let me go back
I
to
just wanted
it.
to say,
No, yeah, we can go back to it. Sorry. You go.
I
You
just
can
wanted
say.
to say, yeah, I'd like he answers a lot of the questions really well. Like, you know, as you're reading it, like, how does this work, or why is this way? And he answers those questions really well. And you know, it's a very satisfying climax for sure to the trilogy.
Yeah. So okay. You got my brain flowing and juicing with Mistborn.
Do you seriously want to go that deep into it?
No, I just meant like other thing I want to add is I thought just it's really good with like how we like you have all these questions in the first and second book, and I feel like most like a lot of the answers are solved in the third one. That's probably why I like it because you're like, oh my god, you get all these answers, like what the heck, that's so cool how he made these, and it all makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I want to talk more. I want to talk more about it, but I can't spoil it. Like I don't understand how to talk about it without spoiling it. Okay.
Some spoilers. So.
No, it's I can't spoil it for you. You just gotta read it.
All right. So my number one now.
Yep.
So my number one is The Witcher: Time of Contempt. So this is the fourth Witcher book, I think.
Yeah.
And
I'm about to start it.
but in kind of my mind, it's kind of the first sequel because the first two books is a lot of like story stuff where it doesn't like follow a continuous, you know, plot. Where the third one starts the plot, and then this one's kind of like the sequel in my mind, and it's kind of like, it's just really cool. There's like a lot of adventure stuff going on, and a lot of like questions are being asked, and like my favorite character shows up named Regis, who's like this high vampire, but who's really friendly, but also has, you know, his own issues, and like it's like a traveling troupe that Geralt is with, and he's like trying to go, you know, find Ciri, which is, you know, obviously the whole series is based on that, on the death, you know, sort of the relationship between them, and like, and you know, they just have a really cool, like the way they do fantasy is, I think, a lot different than a lot of other fantasy books I've read, which I don't think is done justice in the show, but it's done justice in the games. But like it's a lot grittier and like a lot darker and kind of vulgar even. Like it's like, you know, a lot of these medieval or these fantasy books are set in medieval settings, but it's like it's not like, I feel like it's kind of rose tinted glasses, where this one's like, yeah, people were fucked up. And we're gonna sort of show you that in this, you know, in this book. But like I said, like with how they set up like magic and like monsters and stuff like that is cool, and different than most other fantasy books. yeah, so that's my number one. I mean, I've read all of the Witcher books, and there's a new one coming out soon, which is pretty exciting. But and then I also read, watched all the shows and and read or played Witcher 3 and watched a bunch of videos on 1 and 2. So it's quickly become one of my favorite franchises.
Yeah, I kind of dropped. I've read the first three books, and I'm about to start the fourth one, the one that's your favorite, and I kind of dropped the show. I just it was kind of confusing the way it was like hopping around, but just in the book when it covers like the first two episodes of the TV show, like when they cover that in the book, I like the book version way more because it delves more into like why the characters are doing what they're doing. Like in the TV show, they don't really got time for that, so it's just like we got to move the plot forward. But I just love Geralt because his whole like destiny or whatever as a witcher is to murder and kill and slay these creatures, but he doesn't like killing the intelligent ones. Like I just like how he has that battle and everyone around him's like, why aren't you doing it? Just kill him. Like that's your job. But he's like, no, I don't kill intelligent creatures. Like why can't we just solve it, you know, with while talking? But then, if they attack him, he really is that man where he will just kill them all. You know what I mean? Like they do that in the
Did you
third
wanna
book
try
when,
me?
yeah, like with the elves where he just slays all the elves in the third book. And Ciri's like, "Why'd you do that? I thought you didn't want war." He's like, "Well, if I have to, I'll defend the people I care about." So I just think it's like really good, and I definitely want to try like the Witcher game, though the third Witcher game because Brandon tells me it takes place right after the most recent Witcher book. So I'll start that game once I finish the series. But I think it'd be something you would like, Felix. I don't know about the audiobooks because the audiobooks they talk like they do in the TV show, and I don't like that. So
That's fine. I mean, I enjoy in character voice
it's just hard. I don't
or
know.
voice.
It's harder to hear it because I have to focus a lot more on hearing it because they have an accent than just hearing a regular book.
I guess yeah, because I have The Witcher 3 installed. I just haven't played it yet because I know it's a very long game, but I've heard great things about it. I'm intrigued because I watched the show a little bit, but it fell off for me very quickly from that witch girl. I don't know why I did not like that witch girl character.
Yennefer.
That's
Is
Yennefer,
that her?
huh?
The one that was like ugly, right? And then turns.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
she was like a hunchback, and then she became like the powerful sorceress.
When she was hunchback, I liked her character. She was in like as pitchy, I guess. And then when she went like that, she turned like to like a character I just like very much.
I'm starting to like Yennefer.
She's different in the books, and they added a lot of stuff in the show that isn't in the book. Because like the books only follow Geralt for the most part, like almost entirely, and then in the show they had a series in Yennefer's perspective, so that's kind of like their own canon. So it's not
Oh.
necessarily how they
I did
are.
not know that. Because I was confused when they were showing all the Yennefer stuff in the TV show.
Yeah,
Because they
that stuff doesn't happen.
Hmm.
It is funny though, like it's a minor spoiler. Like Geralt is so good at reading people. Like at one point he was like, "You were a hunchback at one point, weren't you, Yennefer?" And they based that whole storyline in the show on that one sentence. And he never said that to her. He just thought it in his mind. But I thought it was so
That's
funny.
funny.
Also something I want to mention in Time of Contempt is that it tells you how Geralt gets his name, Geralt of Rivia.
Yeah, because I know that's a
don't wanna spoil
lie.
it.
I know that in like
Yeah.
one of the books he says that he's not even from Riveria or whatever. It's just made
He's
up.
not from Rivia.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just needed like a knightly name to be respected. But yeah, I don't want to spoil it, but it does tell you how it happens.
So my number one. Are we done with that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So my number one is Helldivers, the first one because I haven't read any other ones. But because what's it called?
You don't even know what happens to X yet.
I know it's just the fact that 'cause when I finished the book, I was like, damn, that sucks. I was looking at Google like, oh, what's similar to Helldivers? They didn't even show fucking.
You didn't even know that there was more books.
Yeah, and then I was like, hey, what? Is there any book like that? He's like, yeah, there's like 9 other ones. I was like,
11.
excuse me? And then the thing like, cause I was reading, I was like, oh, it seems okay, like up my alley. And then I don't know why the thing that got me interested, like the first thing, the first jump they did in the start of it, when it was pitch black for the other guy and he couldn't see, and he was like, he was trying to help him, and he just like the sadness of knowing that you were most likely gonna die in that moment, and just like him like trusting his friend, and you hearing just like the crash of the radio or just like the sounds of the radio.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, like that's he has to all of that because of someone fucked up. It wasn't even because of someone. It was just
Bro just got electrocuted and
yeah,
instantly
it
died.
just
Just you have a
happened.
chance of that happening. That's just
Yeah.
tragic. His best friend just dying in the very start of the first book.
Yeah, especially when like they're both veterans and him just going out like that, like kind of was like, damn, like leaving this kid behind to that, and then I don't know, just like, I pictured like the darkness. Like imagine just like you only hear things, you hear the thunderstorm, and just like you're trying to do this by hearing your comrade or your best friend telling you where to go, and you don't make it. And I just I don't know, they got me deep into that book instantly.
Yeah, there's 11 books and they're writing more.
Exactly. 'Cause,
So-
like at the end, I thought it was gonna be a cliffhanger.
Hold up,
And
don't
then-
tell me. Chill out.
Okay, I forgot.
Can't talk about the ending.
I forgot you
I
just
finished it.
Yeah,
I would finish it by now, but it's an audiobook, and I don't like. Usually, I don't have time to listen to audiobooks
Yeah.
because like I'd rather play when I get home. I'd rather play games or watch something.
Just do it when you shower. Just 5 minutes a day.
Thank you for reminding me because I was about to fucking.
You're about to say it, yeah.
It just that part at the end, you know, and I was like, damn.
I'm almost
That's
done.
I think
Yeah.
Helldivers might be able to climb up like more into being like one of my favorite. I mean, it's number 4, but I mean that's because it's behind Halo, Gears of War, and Mistborn, which like
Those are your
Mistborn,
childhood games,
yeah, and then Mistborn's like known as like one of the best trilogies of all time for novels, for fantasy novels. But yeah, like Helldivers is just such a good book. I agree, and I think I won't even say that the first book's my favorite. Like I think once you start reading the other books, you're like, what the
yeah.
like, bro, I can't even tell
Yeah,
you all
most
this like stuff. It's just crazy. Like you start learning about like why the war happened, and like, oh, the company that made these
That's
blimps are also the ones who,
The reason. Yeah.
yeah. But
Oh, you explained it when you said it. So.
yeah.
Where's your
I know. I was like, I'm kind of spoiling, but it's not a big. That one's not a big spoiler at all. That's like a very small
Yeah.
spoiler. But yeah, so good. Okay, I think that's all of our books. I guess we could do some closing remarks. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. Is there anything? You guys have any honorable mentions? I just had that one Alcatraz one. Because I know, Brandon, you said
We
you had a
talked
6th
about
book.
Fahrenheit 451.
Okay.
That was
Yeah.
my 6th book.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for, if you guys made it to the end of this and like listen to this whole podcast, you're beautiful. If you guys can write in the comments any questions you have, maybe your favorite books or your favorite PVE game modes, that'd be amazing. Maybe in the future we'll make a Discord so we can just actually have people send the things to the Discord, because I'd love to have like more like people's comments and talk about people's comments and stuff, have more interaction based stuff going on here. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, listening, and y'all have a great night. Thank you.
Peace.